cactus and succulent growers, welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon, and in today's video is a special video request from my wonderful subscriber Bogdan Pavel. So hi Bogdan. Bogdan wanted to know the history and a little bit of about these two cacti I've got here growing in the same pot. And this one is my Cleistocactus here, and this one is one of my Pachycereus pringleis. And he said, Lynn, what is the history behind having them in the two pots? So I'm going to be talking about that in this video, and also how I care for them. Now, those of you who know and watch my videos know that I always say that it's not a good idea to pot two sort of tall cacti, different types, in the same pot. So you might wonder why I've got these two grown in the same pot. So I'm going to explain why here. Now, first of all, I first got these two cacti growing in the same pot around 15 years ago. I was living in the Republic of Ireland, and in Sligo. And I saw an advertisement, I think it might have been on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, where a guy said he just wanted some cacti to be rehomed. And he said they're free, they just need to be rehomed. So obviously I answered to the advert and said, yeah, I would love them. So I went all the way up to Dublin, hired a car out, and managed to get these two gorgeous plants from him, cacti. And he was living in Howth at the time, which is the north side of Dublin, a beautiful part of Dublin. And he was living in an apartment, and he said they've grown too big for my apartment. He had quite a few cacti and had a lot in the windowsills and that, and he said, I don't want to cut them down. So I said, that's great, I would take them. And he was very happy that I could take them. So I took them back to Sligo. The first thing I was going to do, obviously, because they're growing in the same pot, was I was going to separate them and pot them up individually, as you can see there. And the guy I got them from in Dublin actually said he'd been growing them for quite a few years. He'd got them when he was young, and two separate ones, just not that high, and he potted them in the same pot, and obviously he'd let them grow and grow. I got them out the pot, turned it upside down, but I couldn't separate these two because the root ball on both of these were completely entangled. It would have been impossible to have separated them. They'd literally grown into each other, and obviously I didn't want to damage them. So I just thought, I don't have a choice here. I'm going to have to pot them up into a much bigger pot, which I did, and keep them as they are. But they seem to be very happy growing together, as you can see. Obviously, it's always a bit of a problem when you've got very spiky cacti, such as this Pachycereus pringlei and a Cleistocactus variety growing so close together, because these spines can pierce this. So I'm going to come a bit of a dilemma. The bigger and fatter this Pachycereus grows, it's going to stick into this. So I'm going to have to work something out in the future. However, for now, they're happy together. They grew up together. So although I've been growing these together for 15 years myself, I don't know the actual age of these plants. As I say, the guy I got it from in Dublin had grown it from a child, and he was probably about the same age as me at the time. So I say 15 years ago, these could be 30, 40 years, I don't know. But they're pretty old anyway. So then, how do I care for them? Now, when you've got two different types of cacti, and it's the same when you've got these cactus bowl gardens, they look great. But I always recommend, if you're planting cacti together, keep the ones that need similar requirements in the cactus bowl arrangement. For example, you wouldn't want to put an epiphytic cacti or a Christmas cacti and that type of thing with a desert cacti, because the water requirements and even their light requirements are very, very different. However, luckily with these two, their care requirements are very much the same. Well draining, gritty cactus soil for both of them, and also a dry and cool winter rest period for both of them. Pachycereus pringlei can be a little bit more cold sensitive when they're young, but when they're quite large like this, there's no problem. I have another one here, my very large Pachycereus pringlei that I'll also be doing a video on the history on very soon. That again overwinters here at 5C, my polytunnel, absolutely fine as long as it's kept dry. So this one, although it's a smaller one, it's absolutely fine. And the guy got it from Dublin actually had these in his apartment, but he had them in a spare room where he didn't heat it anyway, and he used to take them out for the summer on his balcony where they used to get plenty of rain and sun that way. He used to take them into his apartment to overwinter, but he was getting maxed out, and especially with the height of them. So I keep this cool and dry in my polytunnel here at 5C, minimum winter temperature, which is 41 Fahrenheit. From April time up until sort of early to mid-September, I will water them every time the soil has dried out. And because these are together in the pot, and they're in quite a large pot, it does dry out quite quick, very gritty soil. So I make sure I give it a good thorough watering before I will water again. As you can see, very well draining soil of 3 equal parts of a loam-based soil. I use John Innes number 2 by Brand by Clover, mixed with horticultural sand and pumice at 3 equal parts. If I don't have pumice, I'll use grit. Either way, well draining soil. And I'll give a weak strength fertilizer with every third watering I give to these, and I keep totally dry over the winter months. And that's really how I care for them. Very easy going cacti. This is a Cleistocactus variety, but I don't know the exact type of Cleistocactus. It's not a Straussii because they are more hairier and fluffier. This one has more sort of shorter spines, so it's a different type of variety. But it is an absolute stunner and a very healthy plant. This is actually where it has been cut back when I got it, because as I mentioned, the guy didn't have space. He didn't want to keep cutting it back, and this is all the new shoots that have grown since I've had it in the 15 years. So it's absolutely awesome. So that's a little bit of history about these two growing together, guys. And a thank you, Bogdan, as well, for the video request. And I've got plenty more cacti, and we'll be talking about the history behind them and how I care for them. Many cacti that have grown for many, many years over the years. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll step out here. And if you haven't done already, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. Do check out my website for lots of growing tips on there. I'm growing many different types of cacti succulents, as well as regular blogs. Desertplants.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic and funky cactus powered day.